With a legend in need and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. When it comes to the work that a former WWE writer has done so far in AEW, the Wrestling Observer newsletter noted that regarding Jen Peppermint, while a lot of people think she's booking the women's division, she's not head booker of anything and is Mercedes Moné's go-to person, but she's working with more than Moné. She's gotten praised for her work on promos in the Moné Britt Baker segment, as well as for many other men and women, with Mark Briscoe and Will Ospreay being two of the most notable. For more details on the previous negotiations between Stephanie Vaquer and AEW, the Wrestling Observer newsletter said several sources said that Stephanie Vaquer didn't seriously consider AEW. One person in WWE also claimed that they offered Vaquer a tremendous contract because they were aware of AEW's offer. Giving an update on his health after suffering a broken neck, Big E told Getting Over, "Now we're at 2 years and running since I broke my neck. I broke my C1 in 2 places, my C6 as well. I feel great. I have no issues with pain, no issues with discomfort, weakness, any of those things. My strength is great. The only issue is my C1 is healing fibrously, which is great for normal day-to-day life. But it's not turning into new bone and ossifying yet. They're not going to clear me until that happens. It's obviously a very important bone. Right now, that is the waiting game. I did go to Cancun about a month ago for stem cells. We'll see if that changes anything. Right now, I feel great. I'm just not in a position to be cleared quite yet." As Rhea Ripley has returned from injury and is set to face Liv Morgan at Summerslam, this was added. PWInsider.com is told by multiple sources that currently Ripley is not expected to wrestle until the August 3rd SummerSlam event in Cleveland. We are also told that Ripley has not been 100% cleared for physicality, but sources expect that process to be completed by the pay-per-view. She will not have any physical interactions until she is cleared, so there will be a lot of teases and working around it until she gets the 100% green light. Going over previous health problems, the recently returned AEW star Britt Baker told Renee Paquette on Close Up, "It was the weirdest thing. I was in Orlando with my hairstylist Amanda, the best in Orlando. I was sitting down and I just remember I felt sick. Something was off and the room was spinning. I was sick, nauseous, sweating. Something was not right. She could tell right away. Are you okay? She asked me if I needed water. Definitely needed water. First thing that came to mind was something with my neck. When I had the spinning and vertigo, it must be something with the neck. She hands me the water. I go to open it and my right side just doesn't work. It was numb and couldn't work. She noticed it and opened the water for me. We both panicked at the same time and was like, I think you need to go to the hospital. I'm like, okay, let's just finish my hair, which we did. Insane. It got worse and worse. As soon as we were done, I'm gonna go to the hospital. I actually drove myself. It was 2 blocks away to the hospital. It was stupid. I should not have done that. When you go to the emergency room, you expect to wait. I'm thinking it's going to be hours before I get seen. They took me in right away. Over the intercom, I hear them say, stroke patient coming back. They tested some stuff, looked in my eyes and reflexes, put me in a wheelchair, and the next thing I know, I'm wheeled back. They're sticking needles in me and all the stickers to go and get tests. It was very quick. Next thing I knew, I'm in my own room with a pamphlet on being a stroke victim. It felt like a minute had gone by since I was getting my hair done and then admitted to the hospital for a week for a mini stroke. It was a big reality check of you have to listen to yourself. When you're stressed and overwhelmed mentally, emotionally, and physically, you have to listen to your body and chill out sometimes. So many of us fall into we have to go, we have to be there for AEW, Tony Khan, the fans, this and that. Every now and again, we have to be there for us too. We need to chill and relax. During that same interview, Britt Baker explained how her time away from AEW helped her, saying, "It was time to let everything heal and just mentally, emotionally get in tune with myself again because you do kind of lose yourself at some point. It felt like I was stale. I was stagnant with who I am as a performer and I needed time away to be reinvigorated and to find myself again." On Raw this week, Liv Morgan could be seen making her escape through the crowd, running away from Rhea Ripley. Asked about the possibility of former WWE star Ricochet joining AEW, president of the promotion Tony Khan told Liam Crowley of comicbook.com, "I'm a huge fan of Ricochet. I think he's a great wrestler. He's been involved in matches against some of the top stars in AEW and has a great history in New Japan Pro Wrestling where he's been a champion and a top star. We have a great collaboration with New Japan and I think Ricochet is a big part of its history. During a great era when many of our top stars were wrestling there, he was a significant figure. I have a lot of admiration and respect for Ricochet. He's one of the top athletes and one of the most exciting stars in all of wrestling." At a WWE live event, Solo Sikoa would be seen having an interesting interaction with fans in attendance. Calling out Bret Hart's comments on Triple H, former WCW president and WWE Hall of Famer Eric Bischoff said this on his 83 Weeks podcast. He just recently criticized Paul Levesque. Didn't think Paul Levesque was the right guy for the spot in WWE despite everything that Paul is doing and the success that they've had under his reign and direction. But in Bret's mind, Paul shouldn't be in that spot. Bret should be. He didn't say that, of course, but nobody is as smart, as talented, or as knowledgeable about the professional wrestling business as Bret Hart. Everybody else is in over their head. As is Bret, he's never going to change, unfortunately. I wish he would for his sake. I don't really give a but for his sake, I wish he would. Responding to reports of the backstage scene in WWE being hectic when Vince McMahon would miss shows, Executive Director for the company Bruce Pritchard said this on his Something to Wrestle With podcast. "No, not at all. I mean, it was, here's the thing, people are like, oh my god, everybody is trained, everybody knows their jobs and can function and do it. You take away one piece and everybody fills in, does their job, and covers whoever is gone as well. So to that I say, it's like everybody thinks, oh my god, if somebody's gone, it's gonna just crumble. Not even close. Everybody is trained, and everybody is very good at their jobs and what they do, and they just do their jobs. There is no, the rhetoric, the perception that it all just crumbles, and I think you even look later on with Vince no longer in the picture where it's, oh my god, is gonna crumble. No, it's not. We've been trained. Everybody's been trained for years to do their job, and we did it while he was there, and we did it without him. So that's what it is. And without him being there, it was not a lot. A lot of times, it's funny. You read reports from people who aren't there or have any clue. I would read reports that I wasn't there, but yet I was there, literally in the building calling the show from an office. But because whoever the stooges were that were feeding the information back to the dirt sheet people didn't know that, had no clue, but yet it's reported as fact, and it's inaccurate. It's just lies. It's just incorrect information. So, same thing here. It was like sometimes Vince was there, and sometimes when Vince wasn't there, people didn't even notice because people just did their jobs and carried on. And a lot of times, they don't even know that until way down the road. On the topic of changes to the show without Vince McMahon, Pritchard said, less, definitely less. So again, it just comes down to you're still talking to him. He has a phone, you're going to be talking to him. But also, I would say that there was a need, maybe in his mind, to, until that show is on the air live, that you have an opportunity to make it better. Now, that's all relative and that's all personal feeling. I think that the general feeling was that we can make it better, and you're going to keep going until and relook at it until, man, it's on the air. As you probably know, former WWE employee Janelle Grant is suing WWE, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis with claims of sex trafficking. Now, an update on this legal saga has been provided, as Ringside News wrote that the pro wrestling world was rocked when Janelle Grant filed a lawsuit on Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE. The accusations of sex trafficking and other horrendous allegations brought an end to McMahon's tenure with the company he helped build into a global powerhouse. There is currently, staying the case, pending more investigations. Now, we are getting more information on what is developing. Former WWE employee Janelle Grant has filed a pre-action discovery petition against Peak Wellness Inc. and its owner, Dr. Carlin M. Kolker. The petition seeks information related to Grant's previous lawsuit against Vince McMahon, WWE, and John Laurinaitis, which alleges sexual trafficking and abuse. This lawsuit is currently on hold as the U.S. government conducts its investigation. The filing claims Dr. Kolker routinely treats WWE employees and includes several new allegations related to the earlier lawsuit. Grant's petition outlines her interactions with Dr. Kolker, detailing his treatments and the lack of transparency regarding the medications and infusions he prescribed. Grant, who worked for WWE from June of 2019 to March of 2022, claims she was directed by McMahon to see Dr. Kolker for her fatigue and insomnia. Over 2 years, she visited Dr. Kolker or other practitioners at Peak Wellness more than 60 times. The treatments, including adrenal trays and weekly IV infusions, allegedly caused her to feel unwell. And Dr. Kolker did not explain the contents of these treatments. Grant also alleges an employee of Peak Wellness was involved in several instances of sexual abuse by McMahon. On her final visit to Peak Wellness, Dr. Kolker reportedly demanded she sign a statement to provide a credit card for her visits, which she refused. Grant's attorney requested her medical records from Peak Wellness in electronic format in February and March of 2024. However, only paper copies were provided, which Grant and her counsel found incomplete and inaccurate. They noticed discrepancies in billing and medical records. The filing further claims McMahon or WWE paid over $51,000 for Grant's medical bills. It also alleges Dr. Kolker recommended an attorney to Grant during negotiations of a non-disclosure agreement approved by McMahon. Grant seeks records and testimony from Peak Wellness and Dr. Kolker regarding her treatments, billing procedures, and their communications with McMahon. She aims to determine whether they were civil conspirators in her claims against McMahon and WWE, and if they engaged in falsifying records or other violations. Vince McMahon's spokesperson responded, stating Grant's petition violates the court-ordered stay and aims to generate publicity and harass people connected to McMahon. They claim Grant asked McMahon for a doctor recommendation and spoke positively about Dr. Kolker. Grant's attorney, Ann Callis, countered, stating they did not violate the federal stay by filing a state action against a non-defendant. Previously, it was reported that former WWE and WCW star Cold Scorpio had been in trouble with the law. As Ringside News wrote, former wrestling star Cold Scorpio was arrested on June 15th for allegedly stabbing a man during a fight at a gas station. With that said, Scorpio claims that he acted in self-defense. According to court documents obtained by TMZ Sports, the altercation took place around 3:40 a.m. at a Love's travel stop in Kansas City, Missouri. Authorities reported that Cold Scorpio, whose real name is Charles Skaggs, was working as a security guard at the time. Skaggs noticed a man lighting a cigarette inside the store. The victim, however, told TMZ Sports that he did not intentionally light the cigarette inside. He believed it was extinguished before he entered the building, but admitted it might not have been fully put out. Skaggs claimed that when he told the man he couldn't smoke inside, the man became angry and responded aggressively, saying, "F you, what the F you gonna do?" Skaggs reported that the man then threatened him, and when they eventually moved outside the store, the man allegedly attempted to grapple with him. During the ensuing scuffle, Skaggs told authorities that he pulled a knife from his pocket and stabbed the man in self-defense. He stated that the altercation continued for several moments, during which he delivered a few more stabs. Police reported finding the stabbed man on the ground with multiple wounds to his head, chest, buttocks, legs, and abdomen. He was transported to a local hospital where he was described as in and out of consciousness. Investigators later spoke to the injured man at the hospital, where he alleged that Skaggs initiated the confrontation. Following the incident, Skaggs was arrested and charged with 2 felonies, first-degree assault and armed criminal action. He pleaded not guilty after posting bond and is scheduled to appear in court for a hearing on the case this month. Now, a GoFundMe has been created for the star, with the page reading, "My name is Shirley Black. I am better known as Cold Scorpio's significant other. While wrestling fans worldwide know him for all the joy and entertainment he has provided for them over the years, now we come to you for your help and your kindness. If you've ever gotten the chance to meet Charles Skaggs, Scorpio, outside of the ring, then you know he is the ultimate gentleman, kind, selfless, loyal to a fault, and a man of great integrity. As pro wrestlers age, the bookings slowly dry up and become few and far between, which is why he pursued a second career in the security field. He trained hard to obtain a security license. Recently, when working as an armed security officer for a licensed security company, Kansas City Ultimate Security Inc., he was placed in a very unfavorable position. An individual who appeared to be under the influence was asked to put out a cigarette in the indoor facility where it was illegal. Scorpio explained that, and had the man listened, it would have been over. Instead, he got very aggressive and combative. By the time they hit outside, the man attacked Scorpio, screaming that he was an MMA fighter. Mind you, Scorpio is an armed security officer. While resisting to use his firearm, even though he was licensed to do so, a knife came into play, and they both received cuts, with the assailant taking the brunt. When police showed up, instead of allowing Scorpio the opportunity to press charges for being assaulted, he was the one arrested and charged with a felony offense. So now we sit here depressed and desperate enough to have to reach out to all our family and friends, his friends and fans. He's a proud man, and this is very hard for him. Since this incident, Scorpio hasn't been able to work his full-time job as a security officer. This job was his main source of income, and he won't be able to work in security again until he is cleared of the charges. We just found out that Kansas City Ultimate Security Inc. didn't have any workers' compensation insurance, nor did they offer him healthcare insurance. It's been a month, and the medical bills are rolling in. Scorpio had a severe concussion and had several stitches on his left thumb. Now he is having issues with his eyesight, but without workers' compensation insurance and no healthcare insurance, it just seems like there isn't any way out. We are seeking contributions, big or small. At this point, anything will make a significant difference in proving Cold Scorpio's innocence and getting him the medical care he truly needs. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.